Hello, hello, Cancer. Welcome to your May 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Cancer. And unfortunately, I don't have my normal filming setup today, so I'm hoping to get back to normal, but we're just gonna roll with this for now. So I hope you enjoy. But I'm not going to be able to fast forward the way I normally do through the shuffling. So go ahead, set your intention for this reading. Take a deep breath into the diaphragm. If there's some information that you want to have come through, make sure you make a request for that now. And don't forget, if you want notifications for when I post these readings, go ahead and subscribe. Okay, then I'm going to lay this timeline down as usual, and then we will get into the reading. Okay. Now, this wouldn't really be one of my readings if we did not do oracle cards, so I have a few of those. We're going to do a truth bomb first, see what's going on this month for Cancer. More gratitude equals less resentment. Ain't that the truth? Now, resentments can still pop up, and they can definitely still be present, but one of the ways to kind of not paper over it, but shift your focus is to step into more of a space of gratitude. It's just kind of that like catch-all tool that a lot of us don't use nearly often enough. And so this is a great month to exercise that. If you're kind of wondering what you should start implementing in the month of May, I would say gratitude is a great place to go, or a great place to start. And then let's see what animal is coming up for you this month. We have stingrays. Sorry for the inverse there. So I'm getting that there's a lot of work that you're doing behind the scenes, kind of underneath the surface. So when you think about a stingray, the immediate thing that's coming up here is a lot of under the surface work. So think about how stingrays like to sit underneath the sand, and they kind of bury themselves, and so they're kind of wading through the water in underneath the sand. So it's a lot of doing the internal work, doing the work that you cannot see. And this really reminds me of like a chakra system. I mean, not for the record, not everyone's chakra system looks like this, but this is pointing to doing some of that energetic healing, doing more of the energetic work. This month is also going to work well for you. It's all about doing what you can't see and investing in the areas that you might think aren't related, but the more you invest in your own healing, the better off you're going to be. Like, it is a divine responsibility to do your healing work, and that is what I truly, truly believe. So make sure you're focusing on that this month. Oh, and one last thing in case you guys are wondering. Now, maybe you have a practitioner that you like working with, maybe not. I know there's a lot of you that work with me personally, but this can be done with or without another person. It just is entirely dependent on what you need to dig into, right? It doesn't necessarily mean, doing something energetic, but doing the work at all in any capacity, whether it be a workbook or working with a practitioner or doing something else healing for yourself, it's going to have the same impact. Okay, and then the word of the month for you is release. So this is part of that healing that's attached there. Let it go. It will be where it is most needed to be, where it most needs to be. Resist the urge to control things. Breathe deep into your body and let your muscles relax. Everything is as it should be. So this kind of reminds me of you finding solutions where you may not have found them before, or where you might be skeptical that solutions might live. So this is a month to kind of put a lot of emphasis on trust that things will work out, so long as you're making the request for that to happen. So if something isn't going your way, and this is where people get really tripped up, like if you're manifesting and there's something that you're dealing with that you don't like, or isn't favorable, or isn't working for you, it doesn't mean that you're being punished or there's something working against you. It means there's information that you need to remember, and walking through those obstacles and manifesting solutions and resolution is how you're able to release those old stories and, in essence, get back to the core information of what is true, right, and best for you. The central energy for May is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. Let me pull both of these cards first. So what you have moving out in the month of May is the Magician. I like this card a lot. Okay, so we have the Magician moving out, and then the oncoming energy is the Ten of Cups. Okay, so this is where this is an awesome bridge right here, because you have what you've been asking for, what you've been creating, what has been in the works for you, what's working for you. That's what the Magician ultimately is. The Magician is creative. It's all the creative potential and all the creative power that you have. And so this is where things really get cooking. I think you've already been placing your order. For those of you who have not, make sure you're asking for what you need. Like, hey, bring this right now. I'm this is what I'm calling in. So use demand language, use creative language, not want, need, right? Stay away from those words. But the Magician is the archetype of knowing your power and knowing your creative potential. Now, whatever you're in the middle of right now, it's probably going to be hit or miss, right? For some of you, maybe you're asking for something. I see this particularly in the realm of partnership. If you are really, really wanting that person and you're focusing on one specific person who is not in alignment with what you actually want, then they're not going to stick to you, right? If you want a loving, kind, supportive partner, but you're so fixated on someone who's actually abusive and neglectful, they're not going to stick to you. So you just have to remember that what you're asking for truly needs to be in alignment with, one, where you're at personally, and it needs to be the right thing for you. And if something isn't sticking, you're being spared. So that's that's one thing that's coming up. And then the other thing is, you might have a few obstacles, or you might have a few peaks and valleys as you're on the way to the Ten of Cups. So remember that it's not smooth sailing, and it's not totally linear. And things can be easier regardless of what type of turbulence you have going on. But all you're doing is collecting information and remembering how to do things. This is all just a learning experience about your creative power and potential. And that's where you tap into some major abundance, gold, happiness. Whatever it is that you're kind of wanting to create. Okay? But it's not going to work if you're not creating, right? If you're just running on autopilot, this whole process is pointless. And you're just going to be creating the same cycle over and over and over. And so that's where it's kind of like you need to find a way to tap into your creative potential. Of course, you cannot control other people, but you can absolutely call in the right resources, the right opportunities, the right things that are the best match for you at this point. So don't underestimate yourself by any means this month. it's like you're the one who is capable of creating the 10 of Cups, but you have to believe it first. Now let's see what's going on in the external. So this is like your outer world, your outer experience, people, places, and things outside of yourself. First thing, we have the Two of Swords. So not knowing, being uncertain, not having something that's cut and dry. And it seems like there might not be one solid track that is the direction that you're going. There's probably a lot of things going on, a lot of things that have your attention, and like a lot of possibilities. Because when you're blind, that's what your mind is going to do. If you can't see the specific direction of where things are heading, that's why you have like the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords coming up. It's because it is infinite potential. And that can be really activating for fear parts of the brain. Let me see what else is going on. Yeah, so we have the fear card. This is to be expected. If you are in the middle of manifesting some big stuff, a lot of the time limiting beliefs are going to pop up as a result. That's just kind of the way things go. I'm going to clarify both of these. And it's the fear of... when I see this, like the unknown coupled with fear, or not having a cut path, a clear path coupled with fear, really the fear of the unknown is more like the fear of repeating cycles that you've experienced in the past. And it's very hard to not project negative experiences onto the future. It is a practice, and that's why this entire reading is geared towards you claiming personal power over the things that you create, so that you can write a new script and create a new story and get things shifting in a direction that works for you rather than recreates old cycles. Oh, we have the Magician again. So the solution to this is, like I said, it requires your creative ability. You have to kind of manifest around whatever problems you think are arising. So it's kind of like, let's say nothing bad ever happened. That's not actually going to help you. That's going to create a plateau. If you have small challenges, small failures, or even big challenges and big failures, that's actually how you get in touch with your personal power faster than if nothing ever happens. So you kind of have to bless and show gratitude for some of the obstacles that are presenting themselves, because that's what helps you access your internal magician. Okay, let's look at what's going on underneath this in terms of your internal and emotional experience. Okay, first thing we have coming up is the Knight of Wands. I'm going to pull the other one first. And we have the Four of Swords. Needing to rest a little bit. This is kind of stuck. It looks, because the Knight of Wands is the Knight of taking action and doing. And the Four of Swords is the card of rest and relaxation and just taking it easy, going slow. So these are kind of at odds with each other. And I think for each of you, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to feel into when is it right to push and when is it right to pull back? When are you feeling into maybe like burnout or exhaustion or like running up against a wall every time you make an attempt? That's a time to pull back and regroup, get your energy back from anywhere you've left it. But if you're feeling really aligned, like, yes, this is the right action, then you're going to be able to take those risks that make sense for you. So it's just about gauging which tool you want to bust out and when. And then to clarify both of these, we have the Queen of Wands. Personal power, it's that fire, right? Like the Knight of Wands. This is where you really learn that both taking action and falling back are ways of utilizing that personal power. It's not about having an extreme one way or the other. It's about using them both. And this month, I think it's gonna, since this is a general reading, it's gonna show up, I think, one of two ways. But both of them are essentially communicating the same thing with the Queen of Wands, is that they both are different branches of personal power. They fall under the same umbrella. But for those of you that are a little bit in like a cerebral cycle of, I'm thinking about it, I'm contemplating, but not taking action, the Knight of Wands is your solution. For those of you that are only taking action and you're getting angry or resentful that you're taking so much action and you're not reaping benefits yet, then your solution is to fall back. So whichever side of that coin you're on, you want to take contrary action for yourself. Okay? So that's ultimately the path to the 10 of Cups, but you kind of need to collect that information first so that you can actually experience it, show gratitude for it, and then it kind of opens up that can of worms. Let's look at the timeline. So as you guys know, first, second, third, and fourth quarter of the month. Now the first quarter, we have the Page of Wands, Dionysus. I love, love, love this card. This is like, indulge, have fun, have a good time. I think that this is what helps you sink into that gratitude a little bit more, is if you're able to enjoy yourself. So pleasure and gratitude play in the same camp. It's really what helps get the creative juices flowing. It's what gets abundance flowing. It's what opens up those opportunities. If you're in kind of a rabbit hole of problem solving, it can be really hard to see your way out of that. And so this is saying, hey, you might want to loosen up a little bit, do some evaluating for yourself, because that's going to be a big help in you manifesting and creating whatever it is that you're needing. Quarter two, we have the Ace of Pentacles, so planting a seed. This is like where you either begin to take action or trying something different. So I think the first quarter is like, okay, enjoy yourself, sink into what feels good, what's best, what's right, what makes sense for me. And then second quarter is, okay, this is the thing that you're going to plant, or the thing that you're going to do, or the action that you need to take to establish that next step. Okay, so this is just about considering, planning, or taking action on what that thing is. And I actually feel like I should clarify this for you, because there's more information coming through with this. So let's see, for that Ace of Pentacles, we have the Hanged Man. It needs to be something sustainable. So if you're like, I'm just going to take one radical action and pray that that's the thing that gets me where I want to be, that's actually not going to be a good move. The Ace of Pentacles is essentially a commitment. It's like, I am planting this seed, but I promise to nourish the seed. If you just planted a seed and left it alone, it may or may not do anything. You're kind of rolling the dice. But if you're consistently taking action, if you're consistently building and taking those steps, then that's what gets it to grow. And then third quarter, we have the Hanged Man. Once again, you have to stick with it. You have to continue doing it again and again and again. And it's the consistency is what gets you here. It's not the one action, or it might be for those of you that are more in a fallback state, where it's like, I need to integrate more of that rest and down regulation and self-soothing or calming, or being able to bridge the gap between those two things, which is, burnout, taking action, and rest. If that's more of the lesson that you're working with right now, the Hanged Man is like, okay, how can you merge those together? And that's what you really need to do. And then the fourth quarter, so wrapping up the end of the month, we have Justice. So finding that balance, or striking that, is essentially letting that work for you. It seems like that's really panning out. at this point with this Justice card. So it's all coming together one way or another. And it's just about how much personal power you think you believe that you have. All right, now we're going to do a 3-card pick so you guys can ask a question. You can notice a card that's jumping out at you. Whatever you need. All right, so card number 1, we have the 6 of Stones. Reciprocation, input, output. You're going to have to gauge, like, are you investing into a black hole? Are you investing in something that's fruitful? You want to give, it's a delicate balance between letting it grow, because you don't want to tap out too early, but also not investing in something that continues to communicate, hey, go in a different direction. And at the end of the day, it just depends how long you've been doing it. Like, does it feel good to keep doing this, or does it feel bad? Does it feel wrong? That's what you want to trust. Because if you feel really good about something and it's not bleeding you dry, then you can trust that the payoff is going to happen and the reciprocation will happen. But if it's coming from a place of desperation or old patterns or codependency or anything of that nature, then you're gonna run into some issues. Card number 2, we have the 9 of Vessels, make a wish. This is the wishes fulfilled card. This is a solid yes card. What you want is coming your way. I like to put out this disclaimer. It does not mean your crappy ex is making a return, okay? I want to be really explicit about that. Your crappy ex is probably a crappy ex for a reason. So the 9 of Vessels is just like what you actually want, not the brain and not even the heart, but the spirit. That's what this is saying yes to. So the closer you're in touch with that internal voice, that place of, quieting the mind, that's where this is really shining through as a yes. So get to manifesting, as you had the Magician pop up twice, and this is the yes, things are coming through this month. And then card number 3, we have Strength. So I think this is actually like a confirmation of, hey, that thing that you're needing, or that resource that you're wanting, or that miraculous solution, it can come through. It's just about that personal belief in it. I think that that's really an overarching theme, is a lot of this stuff is conditional on what you're pouring energy into. Are you pouring energy into the fear and disbelief? Because you can also get that to mushroom and expand. But if you're actively working on shifting your focus and pointing yourself in the right direction, it's that slow incremental change that allows you to tap into the Strength card on a regular and consistent basis. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, and spending some time with me today. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this reading as much as I've enjoyed reading for you. And as always, if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you are needing some support, if you are needing some help, check out the description box. I have all of my services are available through the links down there. And until next time, have a beautiful rest of May, everybody. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Onyx Healing, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.